What's up everyone, this is FP Sticks, and in today's video I briefly just want to go over the move rebalances that have been implemented into Go Battle League. Niantic finally dropped this update today, or it might be yesterday based on when you're seeing this video, and then they reverted the changes because they made a big mistake, and then they implemented them again. But I wanted to briefly go over some of these changes and talk about some Pokemon that you've probably already ran into a bunch in Go Battle League since these move changes have taken place. So really quickly going over what did take place. We have specific numbers now. Ember, the fire fast move, the damage went from 6 to 7. Karate Chop, which is the fighting fast move, and Legacy on some fighters, the energy gain now goes from 7 to 8. Bubble, the fast move that we see on Azumarill and like Ludicolo, Pokemon like that, the damage was decreased from 8 down to 7. Razor Leaf, thank goodness Razor Leaf got a little bit of a nerf. I think it's still okay that Razor Leaf has a lot of fast move pressure, but the damage, especially with shadow damage, was just way too insane. So I think this is a really good change. Damage went from 11 down to 10. Crab Hammer, which is a water charge move, and unfortunately really the only Pokemon that learn it are like very glassy and don't really get to take advantage of this, but the damage got buffed from 75 to 85. That's a pretty huge jump. Sky Attack got nerfed, which is pretty wild to think about, but this makes Skarmory a little bit less present, as well as Altaria. The damage went from 80 down to 75. Rock Slide also got a nerf. This was kind of a surprise as well. 80 down to 75, and Shadow Bone as well, 80 down to 75. So they kept all these moves similar in stats. We have some new moves that were unlocked on some Pokemon. So Vulpix here learns Weather Ball Fire. If Little Cup ever returns, this might be really cool. Ninetail, or a Rapidash, my bad, sorry. Rapidash actually learns Fire Weather Ball. That's cool. A Lowland Vulpix learns Ice Weather Ball. A Lowland Ninetails learns Weather Ball Ice, and this is actually a huge addition because this will be one of the only Charmers that has access to a 35 energy cost charge move. We'll get into that once we talk about Ninetails specifically, but Ninetails also has Powder Snow, which has fast energy generation as well, but Weather Ball is an amazing charge move, really energy efficient, and only 35 energy cost, so very spammy there. Polytone got Water Weather Ball. I'm sure you all have run into a bunch of Polytoads today. We're going to be talking about it. Primeape got Ice Punch, and then it also accidentally got released Water Weather Ball, and now Primeape is like banned in Go Battle League because Niantic doesn't know how to fix their game, which is pretty classic. But Ice Punch on Primeape gives you decent coverage against the Flyers, but I still think Night Slash is preferred. Claydol, man, Claydol has such a wide move pool now. They gave it Ice Beam and Shadow Ball as charge moves. Unfortunately, I really think Claydol's typing, being Ground and Psychic, just leaves it too weak to too many things that are in the meta. But I think for Sylph Cups, this is going to be a really nice addition. It gives it a lot of wide coverage. Porygon 2 gets Tri Attack. That's pretty nice because Porygon 2 has a little bit more bulk than Porygon Z does in Great League. And this is a huge addition here. Exca Drill gets Mud Shot, so you're no longer stuck with either Metal Claw, which is terrible, or Mud Slap, which is pretty slow on energy generation. Mud Shot, very fast energy generation, and you're going to be able to rip off those Rock Slides and Drill runs extremely fast. You can even think of Exca Drill as like a glassy version of Galarian Stunfisk. And then new Pokemon, Frillish, is available as a rank 20 GBL reward. Okay, let's get into some specific Pokemon and some matchups that they now pick up on. So let's check out the Great League rankings here over on pvpoke.com. If you don't know what pvpoke.com is, you really got to check it out. It's the best resource for everything PvP. And so these are the rankings now for Great League, and it's kind of crazy. It's actually shaken up quite a bit. XL Medicham is now #1, and this is pretty wild for sure. You can technically beat Azumarill here in the 0 and the 1 shield if you're able to successfully bait with Ice Punch. I wonder if you go straight Psychic, you can still win in the 0 shield, which is pretty nice. And this XL Metacham, they're giving it the IVs of 9, 13, 15. I bet if you were to maximize this with like best buddy stats at level 50.5, going straight Psychic, you still just beat Azumarill in the 0. And this is also assuming that Azumarill has Ice Beam and Hydro Pump. If it has Play Rough, Metacham is still going to struggle against it. But it's very interesting that Metacham is at number 1. Obviously beating Galarian Stunfisk, destroying Bastiodon, beating Obstagoon and Scrafty. Still going to lose to Skarmory and Alolan Marowak and those typical matchups there. But let's actually get into some of like the new Pokemon here. So Azumarill is still like ranked number 2. This is XL Azumarill, and normal Azumarill is at number 5. No surprise there, even though Bubble did receive a slight damage nerf, which it is noticeable in the matchups. Azumarill is such a good Pokemon because of its typing and its bulk. Water Fairy actually gives it some nice resistances, and it's incredibly bulky, so its total damage output is really strong, which is why it's still such a good Pokemon, even though the damage was slightly nerfed, which I think was a good change by Niantic. Still, Galarian Stunfisk, the Rock Slide did get nerfed slightly, and it once again is very like slightly noticeable in battle, having that Rock Slide just do a little bit less damage, but still very, very strong, again, because of its bulk and its typing and the coverage that the charge moves provided. Swampert is still ranked very highly up here, which is pretty cool. Look at this. Look at this. Polytone is number 7 now in Great League, which before this move update was pretty much non-existent because you only had heavy hitting moves, or you had Surf, which is a decent move, but Weather Ball is much better and cheaper. You can beat Azumarill. This is assuming that Polytoad is running Earthquake as the secondary charge move, which is a legacy move, but you can beat Azumarill going straight Earthquake in the 1 and the 2 shield scenario, which is really, really cool. Even if the Azumarill has Play Rough, you still beat it pretty cleanly in the 1 and 2 shield, which is huge. Like any Pokemon that can cleanly beat Azumarill without having to bait is really, really nice. This Weather Ball spam is so nice. Polytoad is actually the fastest Pokemon in the game right now, also alongside Galarian Rapidash as far as being able to get to its charge moves. Mudshot generates energy at 9 energy per Mudshot. Weather Ball is only 35 energy cost, so you literally get to a Weather Ball every 4 Mudshots, which is every 4 seconds. If you have not used Polytoad yet, it's incredibly spammy. You're obviously going to beat Galarian Stunfisk. You're going to absolutely beat Alolan Marowak, definitely Bastiodon, definitely Whiscash. Some other things to note here. Going straight Weather Ball against Skarmory. This is actually pretty interesting here. You win in the 2 shield. That's really, really cool. Polytoad now becomes a Skarmory counter in the 2 shield against Swampert running Sludge Wave. Even if you get baited, you beat it cleanly in all even shielding scenarios. What about Shadow Swampert? Only in the 0 and 1 shield, and that 2 shield is probably if you get baited. But Polytoad actually picks up a lot of matchups with Water Weather Ball. So I think it's an amazing addition, and it's incredibly fast. Once I do some more team building and testing out with stuff, I'll be able to release a video running Polytoad and stuff like that. But Polytoad, you gotta check it out. It's literally insanely fast. If I were to run, or if you were to run Polytoad in the lead, I would recommend Earthquake as a secondary charge move. If you want to run it as a safe swap, which I think I'll be discussing this in my video tomorrow, but I would recommend Blizzard as the secondary moveset. You don't need an elite TM for that, and it gives you grass coverage, and you can beat Altaria with it, which is pretty nice. Pretty interesting that XL Diggersby is so high up on this list as well. XL Wobbuffet is up here. Let's look at Lowland Ninetails. So Lowland Ninetails is at number 55, and PvPoke does technically recommend Powder Snow as the fast move, but I really think that there's a lot of value in also running Charm on this as well, fairly fast, a lot faster than any of the other Charmers because it's only 35 energy, and Charm is just such a strong fast move. You can beat Skarmory here, which is really, really cool. You beat it in the 1 and 2 shield if you're running Powder Snow, and you have Weather Ball there. You obviously are going to absolutely shred Altaria. You beat Toxicroak, which is nice. The counters are only hitting you for neutral. And this is assuming that Ninetales is running Psyshock as the secondary move. You beat Whiscash, you beat Shadow Victory Bell. Really, really nice. So you do lose against the Azumarill if you're running Powder Snow. However, if we flip this over to Charm, you can now beat Azumarill in the 0 and the 2 shield, which is pretty nice. If the Azumarill does not have Hydro Pump, you beat it in the 1 and 2 shield. So there is a little bit more as you play. If you're running Charm, and Lowland Ninetails gives you amazing grass coverage. If you're running Powder Snow as the fast move, it gives you decent fighting coverage. If you are running Charm, it melts the dark types, which we've seen so many double dark teams, people running double dark in the back. So it might be a good idea to possibly keep an Lowland Ninetails in the back to punish those double dark lines. But Lowland Ninetails has way more play now, which is really, really exciting. And Kanto Ninetails, unfortunately, is still kind of struggling at rank 121 here. You can technically beat Azumarill, but this is totally contingent on you being able to successfully bait. Kanto Ninetails does have access to Fire Weather Ball now, and if you run Solar Beam as the secondary move, you're going to do a lot of damage to Azumarill, obviously, and be able to beat it in the 1 and 2 shield if you can successfully bait, but that is a fairly big if there. So this obviously, like Fire Weather Ball does make Kanto Ninetails a lot better, but I still think like fire types in general just kind of struggle because of how much water, and there's still a lot of Altaria floating around. So unfortunately, I still don't think that Kanto Ninetails is going to be super meta, especially since you still are going to struggle against Galarian Stunfisk here. You only beat it cleanly in the 2 shield, which for a fire type, hitting super effective on the Stunfisk the whole time is kind of unfortunate, even though you are receiving super effective damage as well. Jellicent is also available now in Pokemon Go because Frillish is a rank 20 GBL encounter reward. PvPoke has it running Bubble, Bubble Beam, and Shadow Ball. I would not recommend this moveset at all. I would definitely recommend a Hex as the fast move, and then Shadow Ball and Ice Beam as the charge moves. You can kind of think of this as almost like a bulky Drifblim, slightly bulkier than Drifblim. It is Water Ghost, really interesting typing there. You're actually able to have play against Azumarill. Let's see if we put Hex as the fast move here, going straight Shadow Ball, you can beat Azumarill cleanly in all even shielding scenarios. That is very, very nice. Against Galarian Stunfisk here, I wonder if we're running Hex and Ice Beam Shadow Ball. You only beat it in the 0 shield. Obviously, if you are running Bubble on it, you'll have a nice G-Fisk matchup as well. But I think Jellicent is very, very interesting. It's got great bulk and essentially kind of a very similar moveset to Drifblim if you are running Hex, Ice Beam, and Shadow Ball. Definitely something to consider there. So you can see here that Night Slash is still the recommended charge move of choice for coverage on Primeape. I really don't think Ice Punch has that much play. I would still recommend running Night Slash here and then Close Combat as the secondary move. It's nice to see that Rock Slide is still the recommended moveset for coverage on Machamp, even with the slight nerf. Stone Edge is a legacy charge move and does hit for a lot more damage, so that is something you could possibly consider putting on your champ at some point in time. I know a lot of other content creators I've seen run a Stone Edge Machamp, especially in Ultra League. Here you can see Claydol. Poor little Claydol, even with the addition of coverage moves, it is really struggling in the Great League. It's just got too many weaknesses. So I really don't think Claydol is a top performer in Open Great League, but for some specific Sylph metas, we will be able to see some play there. Here's Porygon 2, ranked number 311, still really struggling here, but giving it Tri-Attack does allow it to get to these charge moves much faster. Still kind of a meme pick though, but if you run Tri-Attack Zap Cannon, you'll have some fun nuke potential against the Azu and Skarmory and Drifblim, stuff like that, so might be a fun spicy pick to consider. Here we have Exca Drill at number 133. It functions very similarly to Galarian Stunfisk, and it's nice that you can pretty cleanly beat G-Fisk right here, and you're going to beat Skarmory as well. But boy, oh boy, is Exca Drill glassy. It is so glassy in the Great League especially. I think we're really going to see a lot of play for Exca Drill, possibly in Ultra Premier or Master Premier as well, where it's able to gain a little bit more of its bulk. So I hope this short video is able to give you some quick insight on potential or the changes that we now see in this meta. Stay tuned for some of my upcoming videos while I try out some different teams and try to get a feel for this new meta. Polytone is everywhere. I will just tell you that right now, and I'm still trying to figure out some teams that I really think are solid in this new meta. So once I discover those, I will of course bring them all to you and discuss why those teams function the way they particularly do. Thank you all so much for watching. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll catch you all in the next video.